Steps in passing the budget. Constitutionally, the president or his appointee is required to deliver an annual budget speech to kickstart the budget process. However, before then, there are processes embarked upon by the executive. It begins with the preparation of the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper by the executive, and then sending of a draft appropriation bill and accompanying draft estimates to the National Assembly. We will take each step one at a time. First, the executive sets budget policies and parameters in the MTEV FSP document and sends it to National Assembly. The MTEV is enshrined in sections 11 to 17 of the 2007 Fiscal Responsibility Act, which mandates the federal government to develop a fiscal strategic paper within a medium-term expenditure framework for a 3-year period. The MTEV has two main objectives. The first aims at setting fiscal targets, while the second aims at allocating resources to strategic priorities within these targets. Also, the MTEV and FSP document outlines the priorities of government relating to expenditure control, direction of funds to productive and growth-enhancing sectors of the economy, initiatives for job and wealth creation, the completion of ongoing capital projects, and the drive for increased non-oil revenue. After receipt from the executive, the National Assembly forwards the MTEV FSP document to its relevant committees and also the National Assembly Budget and Research Office for analysis, and then sends it back after giving approval. Following this, the executive prepares a budget and sends call circulars to government ministries to state their spending needs. The draft budget is then compiled and sent to the Federal Executive Council for approval as the appropriation bill. The legislative process begins with the President's budget speech delivered at the presentation of the appropriations bill to a joint sitting of both houses of the National Assembly. This speech is taken as the bill's first reading. Thereafter, the Rules and Business Committee sets the date for second reading. At the second reading, the bill is debated at different sittings of each house and referred to their relevant committees for investigation. In the stages following the second reading, the National Assembly's unique budget procedure comes into play. Note here that the Committee on Appropriations takes over and coordinates the whole process. Also, each standing committee transforms into a subcommittee of the Appropriations Committee and is given charge over the head of estimates of the ministry for which it has oversight responsibilities. So, while the appropriation bill itself goes to the Committee on Appropriations, the heads of estimates, which details the expenditure requests, go to the said subcommittees. Subcommittees may invite the relevant ministries for budget defense. After deliberations, the subcommittees report their findings to the Appropriations Committee. A clean copy of the subcommittee's report is then prepared and readied for presentation on the floor of the House. Following this, the Rules and Business Committee sets a date for presentation. The report is presented and copies circulated to all members. At the same time, the chairman of the Rules and Business Committee sets the date the report will be formally considered by the House in question as one committee. For the consideration of the report, the House or Senate resolves itself into a committee of the whole House or Senate, as the case may be, to pass resolutions on each item of the head of estimates. For this purpose, the Committee of the Whole is referred to as the Committee of Supply and presided over by the Speaker or Senate President or their deputies. Here, each item of expenditure for each ministry is considered one after the other, and any change adopted during consideration must be effected before the third reading. After this is the report stage, where the Appropriations Committee submits for adoption its final report containing a summary of amendments agreed to by the House and the amount approved for each ministry, department, or agency. After adoption by the House, the bill goes through the third reading and is passed as the appropriation bill. It is then sent to the other house or chamber for concurrence. Remember that this process occurs separately in each chamber, meaning that both chambers will probably end up with different outcomes. Where this happens, the two chambers will constitute a joint finance committee of equal numbers to consider only the areas of difference and submit their recommendations to the two chambers. Where there is no agreement by the two houses on the recommendations of the Joint Finance Committee, there will be a joint sitting of the two legislative houses to determine the area of differences alone. Each legislature has one vote at this joint sitting. Where there is agreement, each house adopts the committee's recommendations and passes the appropriations bill. Finally, a clean copy of the bill, accompanied by the approved estimates, is sent by the Clerk of the National Assembly to the President for assent. The President signs and the appropriation bill is passed into law.